let's just jump in and do lots and lots of examples. This is a fairly typical question. So a 4 meter long ladder is leaned up against a wall so that the top of the ladder is exactly 3 meters above the ground. OSH, so occupational safety and health regulations gone crazy, say that the base of the ladder cannot be more than 2.5 meters away from the wall where it meets the floor. Is this ladder safe as it is? So this is a real example that I looked up. The reason that you wouldn't have it more than 2.5 meters away is that it's dangerous. If a ladder slips from under you, the chances of you being injured are pretty bad. So let's do a diagram. As an old teacher used to say, always draw the diagram. It's a right angle, so we know this is the floor and this is the wall, and we're told that the ladder is exactly 4 meters long and that it is, 3 meters above the floor, and we want to know whether this distance here is longer than 2.5. If it's longer than 2.5, the ladder will go whoop, and whoever's on the ladder will come crashing down, accelerating towards the ground at 9.8 meters per second. Not good. So let's work it out. So we've got two of the sides and we're trying to find the third side. We know a squared plus b squared equals c squared, or one of the shortest sides is 3 meters squared plus b, and I don't know how long b is, that's what we're trying to find out, and equals c squared, which is 4 squared. So let's expand this out. 3 squared is 9 plus b squared equals 16. So far so good. I'm going to take away 9 from both sides. It's now an algebra problem. 16 minus 9 is 7. So to get rid of this squared, we take the square root of both sides. Let's just come up here. So the square root of b squared is going to be equal to the square root of 7. Those are going to cancel. So b is going to be the square root of 7. And I know it's going to be somewhere between 2 and 3, because 2 squared is 4, 3 squared is 9. So it's going to be 2 point something, but is it going to be more than 2.5? Well, let's grab the old trusty calculator and find out. So shift square root of 7, 2.64575. So we'll say 2.65. So b is 2.65 meters. Whichever way we round it, it's too much, and this is dangerous. If someone told you to get up this ladder, you'd have every right to tell them to nap off. Jumping right ahead to the next one. Triangle has sides of 9 centimeters and 12 centimeters. I don't know why I read them to you, actually. I'm sure you can read, but I have to read them myself. 9 centimeters and 12 centimeters. The right angle is between those two sides. Okay, find the length of the hypotenuse. So it's telling us that one side is 12, one side is 9. The hypotenuse, and just imagine that I can draw for a minute. I'm going to label that X, the hypotenuse. It tells us that the 12 centimeters and the 9 centimeters are either side of the right angle, so they must be the two shortest side. I think the technical term that they use a lot in the books is the legs for some reason. it seems to be a strange New Zealand way of expressing it. But okay, we've got two sides, we're looking for the third side. We don't care about the angle, so we can use Pythagoras Theorem. So x squared in this case is going to be equal to 12 squared plus 9 squared, and it's going to be 144 plus 81, and I have no idea what that is off the top of my head. So 144 plus 81, 225. Okay, so therefore x must be equal to the square root of 225. So maybe you memorize this, maybe you haven't, but the square root of 225, if we go shift, square root of 225 is 15. I didn't intend that, it was just lucky. So 15 what? 15 centimeters. It starts off there, the unit is centimeters, so the answer needs to have that same unit, and that's going to be our answer. Next one. Diagonal path cuts across a rectangular field. Rectangular means we're going to have right angles, which is 24 meters long and 7 meters wide. What is the length of the diagonal? So in right angle triangle terms, we're saying that one of these sides is 24, one of these sides is about 7. The diagonal would be the hypotenuse, and I just imagine I could draw. So we've got the two sides, we're finding the hypotenuse. So Pythagoras theorem says a squared plus b squared equals c squared. A is, we're going to say it's 24, plus I've gotten ahead of myself, 7 squared is 49 equals c squared. I'm going to just label that as c. 24 squared, $576. Okay, 576 plus 49 625. So therefore C must be equal to the square root of 625. So the square root 625 25. 25 what? Well, 25 meters. It gives it to us in meters, so the answer should be in the same unit. And that kind of makes sense. The hypotenuse should be the longer side, so it should be more than 24 and 7. So this must be like quite a small angle, and that must be quite a large angle. But they don't ask us what the angles are yet. We'll get to that later. In this one, they don't even really try. The triangle has a hypotenuse, so they out and out tell you that the hypotenuse is 10 centimeters, and one of the legs is that, again, is 6 centimeters. Find the length of the other leg. So in other words, that's 10 centimeters, and so that's 6 centimeters. We'll call this side A. So it's now an algebra problem, not a geometry problem. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. I'm just getting in the habit. It's a good habit. Let's take a slight digression. It's a good habit when you're using a formula to write the formula out rather than jumping between pages. You'll just make less mistakes when you come to put numbers in. So a we don't know, so a squared plus b squared is 6 squared equals c squared, which is 100 squared. So a squared plus 6 times 6 is 36 equals 100, so therefore a squared must be equal to 100 minus 36, which is going to be 64. Oh, okay, so a squared is going to be 64. It's going to come up here, so therefore a must be equal to the square root of 64, and hopefully you know that that's 8. So it's giving me examples here where the answers are nice round numbers. 8 what? 8 centimeters, and that's our final answer. Notice here you could come a cropper here. You could say a equals plus 64 and minus 64. Sorry, plus 8 and minus 8, because minus 8 squared is 64, but it makes no sense to have a negative distance. A has to be a positive number, so it's 8 centimeters. Last one. Ramp is 15 meters long and it reaches a height of 9 meters. How far is the base of the ramp from the wall? So it reaches a height of 9 meters. So that's 9, and the ramp is 15 meters. That's not to scale, obviously, and also none of the sides are straight, but this is a maths class, not an art class. So that's 9 meters, that's 15 meters, and it says how far is the base of the ramp, which is that, from the wall, which is that. So in other words, they want this distance here, and let's call the side A as well. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. Our man Pythagoras comes back to help us. So a squared plus 9 squared equals 15 squared. So a squared plus 81 equals 225. A squared is going to be equal to 225 minus 81. Suspect we may have used these numbers. 225 minus 81 is 144. So therefore a is going to be equal to the square root of 144, which should know is the perfect root. A equals 12. 8 equals 12 what? Well, a equals 12 meters, and there's our final answer. Again, you couldn't put square root of 144 equals minus 12. I mean, that's true, but again, it's a distance. It cannot be a negative number, so it's just the positive root of 144, and we're done.